Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to AJTRIP's movie review. Today we are reviewing the Fantastic Four, the first steps. Just come back from seeing it, and it was a very good movie. I think it was a very interesting thing. This is not like the Jessica Alba Fantastic Four movie where Galactus was a storm, a cloud of storm. No, he was in this one. He was actually the Galactus that you know, like from the comics and things like that. And although, like my trouble with that is that I always think that Galactus, like, and I'm guessing they're trying to stay like to the comics. But why is Galactus a Fantastic Four, person? Why is because to me Galactus is something that the entire Avengers should have to face, right? He's the one that the entire Avengers should have to face and have to try to get rid of, and not just the Fantastic Four. So I just don't get that. But maybe he'll come back at another time when the Avengers would actually take him on. Um, but this movie I thought was a really good movie. And by the way, spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about what went on in the movie in this review. So yeah, you have been warned. Um, so yeah, I thought this movie was very interesting. They kind of it's set in the '60s, I believe, in the '60s, late '60s, early '70s, maybe something like that. Um, Very interesting. There's a lot of black people in this movie, and none of them are you know fighting for the civil rights like there was in the actual '60s. So that's kind of interesting. But I guess they're just trying to make a movie. They don't want to go political, or have people not want to go see the movie because it's woke or anything like that. But yeah, it's takes place in the '60s, and the beginning of the movie where the Invisible Woman, played by Vanessa Kirby, is she is taking a pregnancy test, and she finds out that she's pregnant, and it's in the '60s, and they have this TV show who's kind of like a or the Ed Sullivan kind of an Ed Sullivan type show. Um, they're talking about it, and they bring up the fact that this is you know what's going to happen and things like that, and they talk about her being pregnant and everything like that, so it's all good. But then all of a sudden, the Silver Surfer comes and relays a message that Galactus is coming, and so the Fantastic Four, you know, being the protectors of the world that they are. But by the way, they seem to be the only ones on this in this lifetime, in this earth, wherever in this dimension. They're the only heroes. There's no Iron Man or no other ones, anything like that. It's just a Fantastic Four. So they decide that they're going to go to space and confront Galactus. Right? They're not going to let the Earth be devoured by Galactus. And they go and they do all the things. By the way, for being in the '60s, he is very smart, very technological. So, you know, that I guess that kind of takes me out of it a little bit, because like this, that the '60s when that technologically sound, that that he's able to create a teleportation thing in the '60s. They don't even have a phone with with the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi hasn't even been invented yet, so it's you kind of have to try to get your mind around that, I guess. So they go up and they find where the Galactus is at, and they find that he's on this planet, and the planet right before their eyes destroys, and um, they follow him, and the Silver Surfer, who is a female, by the way, which you are going to hate because again they're ridiculous. I have no problem with it because her being female made no difference in the story. And I guess some people would say, well, if her being female made no difference, why didn't they do a male? I guess so, but I guess they made it a female because it's a female, right? So, but I don't think she made any difference. There was no no line towards that. So whatever. Excuse me. So they take her to Galactus, and Galactus says he'll spare the Earth if he can devour their child, because he sees the great power that this child holds, and he somehow is he. I'm guessing he did it. I don't know if she did, but I guess if he kind of forces the Invisible Woman to have to have the child. She starts having contractions and going into labor. Um, and they try to get away from Galactus, get away from the Silver Surfer, everything like that. They have it go to a black hole, and they're all this trying to get away from it. So they get away from the Silver Surfer finally, and she has the baby on the ship. Has the baby on the ship. So they come back to Earth, and everybody's wondering. Everybody's wondering what's happening, and they're all like, well. So what? So how did you defeat Galactus and everything like that? And he goes, well, we didn't defeat Galactus, not yet, apparently. He says, and so then he tells him, Mr. Ted tells him that he was willing to not come and get the Earth because if he wanted to have our child, and I guess you can say reasonably, I don't know. But reasonably, some people were upset that they just didn't hand over their only child, firstborn, to Galactus to save the Earth. People were upset, and they kind of, they were upset. They were doing protests and everything like that, apparently all across the Earth, and so finally they're protesting outside of the Baxter Building. And here's where I think people who have the affinity to talk about stuff being woke. This is where people the 2 points where people those people are going to hate this, and I can't wait to watch some of them to see if they did hate the movie, things like that. Right. So further, she comes out. She's holding her baby, and she gets on a little staging area, and she talks about. And she gives this, heartwarming speech about being, about her and Johnny and what they're growing up, and talking about, giving kids that she's not going to, sacrifice her kid for this world, but she's also not going to sacrifice this world for her child. And people, they start looking and oh, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, and then they clapping for her and things like that. So now they've turned back with her, and she makes a comment about moving heaven and earth to save her, and Mr. Fantastic then comes up with a plan. Well, we can save Earth by teleporting it. So like I said, he built a teleportation thing where he's able to move an egg from one place to another. So, and he said that he wanted all the people all around, and somehow for some effing reason, he was somehow able to get the entire world to come together and build these teleportation places. So all they're gonna do is they were gonna use the teleportation devices to teleport the Earth to a new place, in the galaxy. And they did this within weeks. they were able to build these structures all across the globe, right? Many of them. So when they were getting ready to do the teleportation for the Earth, from the galaxy, from Milky Way to whatever galaxy they were going to, well, who came back from the black hole, the Silver Surfer, and she came and she destroyed every of these things instead of the one in New York. So throughout this time, when Mr. Fantastic is trying to figure out how to teleport the Earth from the place it is now to another place, Johnny has been doing his own research because his first interaction with the Silver Surfer, she said something, and he figured out it was Die Without Young, and he's been doing a bunch of, and there's been like sound waves from the past that he was able to record it. They were able to record on a album or something like that, and he's been looking and listening. So he's somehow able to learn the language that she can, that she originally speaks, and she knows he knows the backstory and everything like that, and all about it. And it's the thing where she's been almost forced into this to save her Earth. She's been forced to be the herald for Galactus, and so she goes back to Galactus, and Galactus starts to choke her out and do whatever, right? So she's gone. I don't know how she goes, but she's gone. But like I said, before she left, she destroyed all the other ones, up to the one that's left in New York. So now Benjamin Fantastic has a thing that we can't teleport the Earth, but he can teleport Galactus, and they have to use Franklin as bait to do so. But New York City is this metropolis of millions and millions of people. So there's this dude called Mole Man, and he lives under the ground in his something he calls subterranea. So they talk with him, so everybody goes to Subterranea to stay down there while they are dealing with Galactus. And so Galactus comes out of the ship, and he comes to the Earth, and he's looking for the baby, and the baby is there. So, but then while they do that, they have Johnny like burn his eyes, and then while they're doing that, they try to switch out the babies. But Galactus is a god; he knows. Before he steps into this machine, that they're trying to drag him into, he can tell that there's no baby there, and he can tell there's a baby over there. So back in the Baxter building, so he goes and he's able to get Franklin Richards, and he gets him, and then Sue. This is going to be the other thing that everybody, will either hate or love. Sue summons her mom's strength, and she uses that force field, and she forces Galactus. He keeps pushing him into the thing, and then she pushes him back into the little center thing where they have the teleportation device in, and they get Franklin and get him out of there, and they teleport, and they open the portal, and they put and they put Galactus in it, and it basically Sue Storm used all of her strength, and it basically killed her. It killed her. But Galactus wasn't done just yet. He was still there. And then they had a certain amount of time. They had like 37 seconds to try and before the portal was open, and there was still like 10 seconds left. Galactus was coming out, and Johnny Storm was going to sacrifice himself, for Franklin. But then all of a sudden, out came the Silver Surfer out of nowhere. She came back, and she pushed Galactus into the portal. Followed him in afterwards, and there was Galactus. He was gone. But then they go to Sue, and Sue's down, and he's doing these chest compressions, and nothing's happening, and you lose Sue Storm, but Franklin is crying, and he's crying because he somehow knows what has happened. He somehow knows what has happened, and he's crying, and he was originally in Ben's arms, and he goes to Mr. Fantastic, and then he then sits and lays on top of his mother, and he soon gets quiet. And then after a couple of seconds, her fingers start moving, and she starts jittering, and then she gasps up and comes alive. And we now realize that Franklin Rich's power, it's power of life. Looks like that. That's his power. He can, because they've been wondering all the time, was he going to be a normal child? Was he going to have because of the stuff that happened to Reed and Sue? Was he going to be a meta-human? Basically, that's what he's. He's a meta-human. What was he going to be? And he's got the abilities, I guess, of life, which is incredible. So he revives Sue, and Sue is alive, and all is well. And of course, they're happy, and they once again are trying to do anything, and it ends with them going back on that Ed Sullivan type show. This time the Fantastic Five, but they get an alert that something's happening, so then they're not there. They're trying to go and fix it, and this is three guys are trying to get the car seat in the car, and it's not working. And Sue's they're looking at him like, men. And so then they finally get the car seat, and then the movie's over. That's the end of the movie. There's a mid-credit scene where there's a pre-credit scene. It shouldn't be mid-credit. It's a pre-credit scene where it's 4 years later, and Sue is reading to Franklin, and she stops one book to go get another book, but she can feel that there's something different. So she starts to have her hand glow as if she's going to use her powers and things like that, and she's walking back towards Reed, not Reed, but Franklin. And when we see the camera pan and turn around, we see Franklin talking to a hooded figure, Victor Von Doom, more than likely. So yeah, that was that. And then the post-credit scene. Listen, Marvel has just said fuck it with the post-credit scene. We'll give you a pre-credit scene. The post-credit scenes have been pretty bad. After Endgame, post-credit scenes have just been bad. They've not made any sense. They've not really had anything to do with the thing really. It's like the what's the movie I saw a couple months ago? The Thunderbolts. Yeah. So and again, I believe that was a pre-credit scene. The pre-credit scene was the Fantastic Four ship coming into the atmosphere from like another dimension, right? So I was thinking, well, we're gonna find out what causes them to have to come to this dimension. No, we don't. The post-credit scene is a cartoon. Is like the opening from the cartoon, except the cartoon are of the now characters. It's a cartoon, Reed Richards and Pedro Pascal and Invisible Woman, Fantastic Four. The Human Torch. I was trying to figure out. He looks so familiar. I was trying to figure out who the fuck does he look like, and I finally realized he looks like Freddie Prinze. When Freddie, from the Scooby-Doo movie. Remember when Freddie Prinze Jr. was trying to play Fred from that Scooby-Doo movie? He looks like that. That's what Johnny Storm looks like. So and so it's all of those things. So yeah, it's I was kind of disappointed in that. But all in all, I thought the movie was good. I like the story. Again, I personally just don't think Galactus should just be for the Fantastic Four. Like you can introduce Galactus, but Galactus should be like again an Avengers level threat. And I think that's one of the things that I did like. The way that they were able to get rid of Galactus, I thought was a very smart and clever way of doing it. sending him to another part of the galaxy that with that teleportation device. But I also didn't like the fact that again he was just it was just those four guys, and basically it was just the visit of a woman who used her mom's strength to push them in there. So, I hope that he will come back at some point and for the Avengers. He's an Avengers level threat. He isn't a god. The Fantastic Four just shouldn't be able to just defeat him. Like that, but he did. That's why, like, I'm not giving this movie, things like I said. It was good. It was entertaining. I thought it was fun. I had, real good bass. Again, there was some comedic moments in this, but I didn't necessarily laugh. But again, I thought the story they told was great, and despite some of the differences that I have with it, I thought it was a very enjoyable movie. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, so I think it's good. You guys gotta go out there and go see it. All right, and don't listen to anybody. If there are people out there who say don't go see Fantastic Four because it's woke, that's not the people you should be listening to for it comes to reviews. If they don't like this movie, but they don't like it because it's woke, don't listen to them. Find somebody else. Find somebody who don't want to listen to those idiots. Okay? Alright. Post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. If you seen Fast and Furious 4, did you like it? Did you not? Let me know down in the comment section. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. I'll see you next week for the Naked Gun review. Hope it's fun.